Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Trudge, a journey to being recovered. My name is Dexter. I am a grateful, recovered drug addict and alcoholic. Welcome back to the program. Hope everyone's doing well out there. I am doing pretty good. It's just a little hot where I'm at today, but that's a luxury problem compared to the problems that I used to have prior to working these steps and having a spiritual experience. So, last week we finished up with steps 8 and 9 in the chapter Into Action. This week we are going to start moving through steps 10 and 11, and we are going to finish the chapter. And by this time, a lot of good things should probably be happening to you. It's strongly suggested to definitely go back and look over the work and look at the, look at the colored parts, look at the promises, look at the actions, look at what's working for you, and it's pretty simple to know if this is working for you, how you feeling, has your thoughts changed, things like that. Are you thinking about other people? Are you, living altruistically and selflessly? These are some of the goals that we've been looking to attain since day one. So we're on page 84. We're going to get this chapter done. Next week we're going to go into chapter called Working with Others, and it is all devoted to step 12. Nothing that's going to work better for drug addicts and alcoholics of the hopeless variety, real drug addicts, real alcoholics, than working with others. And so the whole chapter is devoted to that. And so that's what next week looks like. But right now we have two important steps to go over. So let's go ahead and invite God in with our third step prayer. For those of you who care to join, this is on page 63. It should be highlighted pink if you've been following along with the program. And if not, you're more than welcome to do so anyway. God, I offer myself to Thee, to build with me and to do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. Thanks to those of you who joined in with that. Let's get right to work. So, we finished reading the 9-step promises on page 84. The last thing you should have highlighted is yellow. And then it goes on right after that with the second paragraph on page 84. This is going to be highlighted orange. And it says, this thought brings us to step 10. Which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. So we're just continuing doing the work that we have been doing, but we're looking at it. We are definitely taking stock of what it is we're doing. If opportunities to come, arise to make amends, we do that. If opportunities arise to help other people, we do that. We're looking at ourselves, okay? This is continuing on orange. It says we vigorously, and the word vigorously is one of those buzzwords. It's going to be highlighted. All of this is going to be highlighted orange, but this is going to be circled, okay? Vigorously. You do it really, really well, okay? So we vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up the past. I have as we cleaned up the past underlined, and that's what we've been doing. We got right with ourselves and God, and, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're cleaning our past up in relation to the things we used to do and how we used to live and how it affected other people, okay? Continuing on orange, we have entered the world of the Spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter, okay? This is not an overnight matter. It's going to be underlined as well as highlighted orange. It should continue for our lifetime. So it's telling you, man, this isn't going to happen overnight. It takes practice. We have to really put effort into this commencing this newfound way of living. It takes work, okay? But over time, as we do it, it becomes second nature, and our lives change, okay? This next sentence is going to be highlighted green. Green is for action, so these are our 10th step actions. It says, continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. I like to refer to these as like the fatal four. The book talks about a lot of these things that come in fours as like the four horsemen. These four are absolutely, you must be on the lookout for these as somebody who has become recovered. Because we can fall back into these old habits and patterns which eventually could snowball into us taking a drink or taking a drug or whatever it is, whatever our issue was that we brought to the table here, okay? So I have all 4 of those words circled. Our 4th step, spoke a little bit about these as well. Selfishness is selfish is self-centeredness. It's the root of our troubles. Dishonesty just piggybacks that. Resentments, nothing kills more alcoholics than resentments. And fear. Everything is fear. Self-centered, self-seeking fear. Not going to have enough, not good enough, not going to be loved enough, whatever. These are the things we need to look out for, okay? While we're taking inventory of what it is that we're doing, our day, our week, whatever, this moment, okay? The next sentence is going to be highlighted in pink. It's a 10-step prayer, okay? It says, when these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. I have the words at once underlined. We're not waiting on this. We're looking out for this kind of behavior, okay? And remember, God could and would if he were sought, Another reiteration of the 3rd step prayer, the 7th step prayer, asking God to take this stuff from me, okay? So, when it's near the end of the month and, I haven't really had a good month, and the money's really not kind of flowing the way it used to, at that moment, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, and that's boom, at once. I'm asking God to take that fear away. That 4-step fear prayer is absolutely applicable in this situation, okay? And direct my attention to what he would have me be. I can't be of help to the next man or my fellows or to God if I'm worrying about money, if I'm worrying about being afraid of being dumped or whatever it is, okay? Fear can ruin lives, and it does. And this is the type of things that we're not looking to fall back into, these kind of situations, these behaviors, okay? This 9th step promises tell us that, fear is something that is we're working on being removed, especially, of people and economic insecurity and other things, in that capacity, okay? The next sentence, or next couple sentences, this is going to be highlighted green. These are more 10-step actions. It says, we discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed somebody. Okay, this is huge. Just a little piggyback under that 8th and 9th step. Your amends don't end. If we've harmed somebody, we take care of that, and we take care of it right away. We discuss it. The word quickly, let's go ahead and underline that word. It doesn't say, we sit on that. Quickly. Then, continuing on green, we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. You see how the book is just constantly bringing us back to working with others, helping others, what we can do for the next man. It says it a million different ways and just drops it throughout the whole book. The whole thread is about how we can be of service to our fellow man and to God, okay? Turn to someone we can help, all right? Love and tolerance of others is our code. That's going to be highlighted green as well and underlined. So that's what our code is, okay? And it's easier said than done. There are people that, aren't my favorite people, especially at meeting level. I've heard it said at meetings, if you love everybody at meetings, you haven't been to enough meetings. There's a lot of different personalities in those rooms. Doesn't mean I'm not there to love these people, okay? Look, we're here to be patient, tolerant, and kind and loving to all. Period. Even our enemies, okay? It's real easy to do when it's people that we get along with, or people in our family that we love. But how are we acting when it's things that people that bristle with us and things of that nature, okay? It tells you right there, okay? This is an action. This is a way to a better life, okay? So this is the part of the work. This is my favorite part of this book. One of, and I don't think it gets discussed enough at meeting level at all, okay? So these are the 10-step promises. This is POI yellow. It should already be highlighted yellow. I spent quite a bit of time doing this when we went over headlines and points of interest. I just love it. I think this should be the 9-step promises, personally. It's just so many amazing things happen to me here in this the medicine that these words speak to, is just, it's not tantamount to anything that's ever happened to me in my life. It just isn't, okay? So it says, we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. I have the word even underlined. So we're not only just fighting the necessity to drink or not drink, but people, places, things. We're not fighting anymore, okay? The bondage of self, we're not fighting ourselves over, should I do it, should I not do it? We don't do that, okay? For by this time, we will have sanity, will have return. That's telling me that by this time, if not before, I want to start being able to trust my own thinking. I mean, that's huge. Being able to trust your own thinking is amazing. It's just a great feeling, knowing that your mind's not playing tricks on you, okay? We will seldom be interested in liquor. That's just been my story. I could care less. It just doesn't faze me at all. That obsession has been removed, okay? If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. Everybody knows what it's like to put your hand near a stove and feel that burning and pull it away. That is a real feeling for me, and it is for many of thousands, maybe even millions of recovered drug addicts and alcoholics throughout history. It says we react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. I'll tell you, I went to bed one night and woke up a different man. There was no burning bush for me. There was no aha moments. I just felt different, I started doing this work, living this work, walking it as well as talking it, and I changed. And it just kind of happened automatically. This happened to me. I don't know if this has happened to you. This happened to me, okay? But I'm here to tell you that by working these 12 steps to the best of your ability and being willing to go to any length, this will happen to you. It's happened to almost everybody I've worked with who has done the steps and worked the steps and lived the steps and done what comes after getting through 12 steps. So the aftercare of working the steps, the working with others, not just going to a bunch of meetings and being sober to just be sober, but to stay recovered, living that altruistic life. This is what this is talking about, okay? We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. And that's what happened. It just comes, okay? That is the miracle of it. I have the word miracle circled. Some of the lesser forms of miracles in this world, are things like this. People don't have to just get up out of wheelchairs and walk or survive plane crashes or, things like that, or be shot 10 times and still live. There's other kinds of miracles. I'm a miracle. The fact that I'm not out there trying to run game on some girl, steal something, to get a bag of something, rob somebody, that's a miracle. That's a miracle, okay, because that's who I used to be. Period. End of statement. And that's not who I am today. And I owe it only to this work and finding the higher power of my understanding. That's it, okay? It says, we are not fighting it, nor are we avoiding temptation, okay? So it's like, I go wherever I want. In some earlier submissions of Trudge, I spoke to you guys about, being in places like Jamaica where, like, drug of choice, marijuana is everywhere. I mean, I live in Oregon. There's marijuana everywhere. I'm not going certain places, Every now and again, once in a blue moon, I might go to a bar to watch live music or football. I'm fine. On work assignment in New Orleans, I walked through Mardi Gras. I was in Cartagena, Colombia. I mean, these are some of the most seedy places for drugs and alcohol in the world, and I was fine. I'm not avoiding temptation. I've built an arch through which I can walk through a free man, and so can you. And hopefully that's what you're doing, okay? So we're not avoiding temptation. We had been placed, we feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality. This is important, okay? Safe and protected. The words safe and protected are circled. I mean, who do you think is keeping us safe and protected, man? Our higher power is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. As long as we continue to do the things it takes to stay recovered, we're taken care of, okay? We have not even sworn off. Hey, that's huge for me. I can't tell you how many times I swore this. Oh, baby, I'll never do it again. Or I'll never do that again. Let me tell you something. The word never is a dangerous word. And I used to swear off all the time. It was like, no one ever believed the word I said, because every time I swear something off, 5 minutes later, I'd be doing it. Whether it was cigarettes, compulsive sexual behavior, eating, compulsively to get, a feeling of such, whatever it was, drugs, alcohol, lying, cheating, whatever it was. Today I don't have to swear off anything, okay? This is the best part for me. I love this part. It says, it does not exist. Instead, this is underlined as well, instead, the problem has been removed. Okay, so how cool would it be? You're at your first couple meetings. How cool would it be if somebody said, you know what, man? If you just come in here and be open to taking suggestions and be willing to go to any lengths to do a little bit of work, to be open-minded enough to make some changes in your life, to work these steps, that this problem can be removed, and it can stay removed if you're willing to go to any lengths to do that. And the things that you'd be asked to do are far less exceed the things that you probably had to do to acquire drugs and alcohol. How cool would it be to hear someone say that? But that's not what I heard. I heard keep coming back, it works. And that's cool, But I'm here to tell you, keep coming back. It works. Only works when you do the work. I can't sit next to somebody who's got a happy, joyous, and free life and have a happy, joyous, and free life just because I'm hanging out with them. This program does not work by osmosis. You have to do the work, and I'm so grateful that I did the work, because I tell you what, the problem has been removed. And for my first 11 years, the problem was not removed. I removed myself from the problem, but it was always there. I was still obsessed about drugs and alcohol. I couldn't have gone any of those places where those issues were. I would have probably acted out. And when the rubber met the road for me, I was on my way to acting out, because the problem hadn't been removed, because I didn't know the first thing about being recovered. Why? Because it's not what we're talking about in our meetings today. We're talking about one day at a time in this program. This program is not a one day at a time program. This is about having a spiritual experience and having that program removed and keeping it gone, and then turning around and showing someone else how to do that. That's what this program is about, And so I love this. I love the 10-step promises just for that sentence alone. And I make sure when I'm in meetings and I share the hope, I let people know that, what? If you're willing to do a couple things, that problem can be gone for you and stay gone. How cool is that? Cancer patients don't want the problem kind of gone. People who break their arms, they don't want the bone kind of healed. They want the problem removed. This is no different. Be willing to go to any lengths, the chemotherapy, the series of different casts you might have to wear, and that problem goes away and it stays gone. It's about being recovered. Period. End of statement. I'll never back off that. As you can tell, I'm really passionate about that. So it goes on to say, highlighted yellow still, 10-step promises. It does not exist for us. The problem's gone. Okay? We are neither cocky nor are we afraid, and we're not trying to be cocky or arrogant about this. People who have had spiritual experiences and spiritual awakenings, they understand, what this entails. It's not about walking around with a big chip on your shoulder and telling everybody that you're doing it wrong, and if you would only do this. That's not what it's about at all. There's a measure of humility that must come with this. And my sponsor taught me, just be confident. The book talks about being convinced. Are you convinced that this works for you? You're not out there trying to convince somebody else, but are you convinced? And that's what I am. I'm just convinced. Nothing has worked for me like this has worked for me. And so I stand by it, like, the need for food and water, and oxygen. I mean, that's just how it works for me. And I believe that's how it worked for the people that so eloquently put this program together in the inception of, the big book in the late 1939. This is what they were talking about. They wanted you to know that a spiritual experience was the way to go. You can one day at a time this program, but not really get well. Okay? If you take away alcohol from, just a real prick of a person, that you're going to still have a prick of a person, Just like Dr. Bob said to Bill, a spiritual experience, he conceded, was absolutely necessary. And I remember the day when I recognized that that's what I needed, or else I was doomed. Okay? So that is our experience. First 100, Bill, these people are telling you, that's been our experience. That problem gets to be removed. This is an important page in the grand scheme of the big book. It can't be glossed over with a minimum of concern, okay? That is how we react, so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. I have in fit spiritual condition underlined. And if you ask me, well, what does that mean? What does fit spiritual condition mean? It's very simple. It's work and self-sacrifice for others. Helping others. Altruism, whether it be in the AA capacity or not. Giving back what was so freely given to you so you can keep it. It says in dozens of pages in this book, so many different ways, that nothing ensures more permanent recovery than one addict or alcoholic working with another. Period. End of statement. That's been the way it's been for years. Somewhere along the line it got twisted, but I think we'll get the recovery rates that we used to get, the 75 to 85 to damn near 100% recovery rates of people coming in and staying when we get back to that. Nowadays it's under 10%, and I think that's absolutely tragic. I really do. And I will die bringing this message to other people, because it's given me life that I never thought I could have. So that's the end of the 10-step promises, okay? Very passionate about that, as you guys can tell. I'm not going to apologize for it. It's just my heart's in it, okay? It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. So it's telling us, if I start feeling like, what, man, I'm not going to do the video. I don't need it. You know what I mean? I've done enough of those people out there in computer land. I'm not going to go to this meeting today. You know what? I'm going to cancel on my sponsee. I need some sleep. You know what I mean? It's easy to let up on that spiritual program. You have to want this. You have to want to keep it. Are you willing to go to any length to get it? And then are you willing to go to any length to keep it? Okay? It says we are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. For whatever it is, just mark that in there. Alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever. It's subtle foe will take you out. Don't forget the person you were when you got here, okay? You could be that again. It happens. We are not cured of alcoholism. Very, very important. People think we're cured. There is no cure for alcoholism, okay? We get to be recovered. We get a daily reprieve. It says, and this is going to be highlighted yellow. This is more promises, okay? It says what we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on our maintenance of our spiritual condition. So, daily reprieve, circled, contingent, circled. It's telling you that, I stay recovered as long as I continue to live my life altruistically, help others, trust God, keep my side of the street clean. When I decide that I don't need to do that anymore, I don't want to do that anymore, fall back into old patterns of self-will and self-centeredness, forget about God, and it turns into foxhole relationship with God, dude, I cease to be recovered, and I'm on my way back to the person that I used to be. You can go back, okay? It takes work. This is not just about not putting alcohol in your system. It's not. Believe me when I tell you, I've tried a multitude of different ways to get well. Nothing has worked except this, okay? Every day, and the word every day is underlined, every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. The word must is circled. This is going to be highlighted pink. It's a prayer, 10-step prayer. It says, how can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. Another reiteration of step 3. It's just all about, God, what's your will for me? The easiest prayer ever is, thy will, not mine, be done. It just doesn't get any better than that. It just takes you out of you and places you in God's care and protection, and you're going to do what that you think that is, what you feel it in your heart, and your life's going to get better. Believe me, those selfish and self-centered aspects of the person you used to be will dissipate. I promise you. I've seen this happen to a lot of people, and it has most certainly happened to me. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. It's telling you, you want to exercise your willpower along something, exercise it towards being more godlike. That's where it should be taken. It shouldn't be about attaining, acquiring, getting ourselves fat, lining our pockets, getting as much this and that as we can, and forgetting about everyone else. Look, if I don't share this wonderful message that I've been given to other people, I'm stealing it. It is just that simple to me, okay? Bill and Bob, they knew they had to give it to somebody else. They went and found Bill D. The three of them knew in order to stay sober and stay recovered, they had to go find Ernie G. And it went on and on and on. We got to just get back to doing that. That's really what works, okay? Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If, and the word if is going to be circled, because if we have carefully followed directions, it's telling you, if we've carefully followed them, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. It's telling you that spiritual experience by this time is absolutely happening for you. You will be a different person. You will feel different, sound different, walk different, everything about you. You're going to almost be a different person. You might be in the same body, and even some of the physical aspects of your body may change, but you are not going to be the person that people remember. It is a guarantee, okay? To some extent, we have become God conscious. That's that God consciousness we're talking about, that spiritual experience that's taken place. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense. The word vital, circled always, as important as air, food, and water, okay? The life and blood is the program, vital to it. We must go further, and that means more action. More action. Underline, the word action is going to be highlighted green. So it's like, you're probably getting to the point in these steps where you're like, God, man, I'm just doing all this work. When does it end? You know what? It doesn't. It doesn't. Not if you work it properly. It may lighten up at times for certain steps, but it doesn't end. Did it ever end copping drugs? Did going to the bar ever end? Did buying those 40s ever end? It never ended. Did the hiding and manipulation, lying, cheating, stealing ever? It never ended. If you do a third of the energy that it took you to do all those other things here, dude, your life's going to get better. It's going to get better. So more action we're talking about. We're moving into the realm of step 11, boys and girls, okay? Fasten your seatbelts, hold on. I love step 11. Very, very important, okay? So it says, step 11 suggests prayer and meditation, okay? I have that highlighted green, because that's the action of the step. We shouldn't be shy. And I have the word shouldn't be shy underlined, okay? We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than us are using it constantly. It works. if we have the proper attitude and work at it. Okay, we got to work at it, practice these principles in all our affairs. Okay, it would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. Okay, so this is, I mean, it starts to get super colored here. Okay, so have your highlighters ready. 11-step actions. Okay, this is the bookend step. Okay, it tells you about what to do in the morning, it tells you about what to do at night, and then in the middle, that's your 10th step. That's your day. What's going on during the day? Have I been selfish today? You know, have I been in fear today? Do I owe somebody an apology today? Do I owe an amends today? We're taking stock of ourselves in the middle of our day, and in the morning we got the morning, and at night we have the night. Okay, it starts with when we retire. I have when we retire highlight. This whole thing, 11-step action, is going to be highlighted. This whole paragraph, green. When we retire is circled. So it's telling you when you do this. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. We're resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid. There's a fatal 4 again. I mean, they're really hammering this home. Be careful of this stuff. Watch for this stuff, okay? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Secrets, you know? We don't want to harbor secrets, man. They will kill you, okay? We're only as sick as our secrets. That is as true as ever. Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? As that selfish and self-centered thinking that is the root of our troubles, okay? Or were we thinking about what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the mainstream of life, into the stream of life, okay? This is going to also be underlined as well as highlighted green, but we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to God. You know, so if I fall short, you know, and I get in a fight with someone at work, I use some colorful language, you know what I mean? And that's obviously, that's not what God's will is for me. You know what I mean? And I'm going over, you know, my day. I'm doing my 10th step, 11th step, you know, before I go to bed. And I'm just like waking up and wallowing self-pity about it. And I'm beating myself up about it. You know, the book is telling us we don't want to do that. You know what I mean? We use our on awakening prayer, which we're about to go over, you know, ask God to divorce us from that self-pity so we can be useful to Him and other people, okay? Look, if we stub our toe, you know, in this program, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's progress, not perfection. Spiritual progress, not perfection. Am I better today than I was yesterday? If so, I'm doing a good job, okay? So, this is going to be highlighted pink, 11-step prayers. It says, after making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. So, you know, maybe I need to make an apology to that person I had that fight with. Maybe I need to look at my side of the street. Maybe I need to do a 4-step resentment around this person. What are the actions I need to take? I'm praying to my higher power about them, and I'm going on my way because I have work to do helping others. I cannot sit in my dirty diaper around this. I can't be on my pity party about and whatever it is. Okay? It doesn't matter what it is. It's very, very clear what the instructions around this step they want you to do. So, now we're talking about in the morning, on awakening. I have the words on awakening circled. It's telling you exactly when to do this, okay? It's so clear. Just follow the instructions, okay? Let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, and I have the words before we begin underlined, and then the rest of this sentence is going to be highlighted pink. This is the 11-step on awakening prayer, okay? I say this every morning. It says, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, and self-seeking motives. These are specific things we're asking God to rid us of, okay? I have self-pity, dishonest, and self-seeking all underlined. We're asking God to rid us of these things, okay? The next 2 sentences are going to be highlighted yellow. Okay, more promises. 11-step promises. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance. For after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when thinking is cleared of wrong motives. You know, when you have pure thoughts in your heart and your mind, you can trust your own thinking, and you can actually make decisions that are going to be in your best interest because they're going to come from your God consciousness. This is promised to you as the result of doing this stuff daily. This 11th step is tremendous, you know. Do I do it every day? I try my best. Do I fall short? Absolutely. Sometimes I just go to bed, you know. Sometimes I don't do it for weeks. But believe me, I feel it. I feel it. And then I know what it's time to do. It's time to get back to this stuff. You don't want to forget what got you well. You know what I mean? Because if you do, you will go back to being sick. That's a promise that's not written in the book, but we have millions of people out there that have died from relapses that can attest to that. Okay? So, in thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. This is going to be highlighted pink. Here, we ask God for inspiration and intuitive thought or decision. I'm going through this right now. God, what do I do about this? You know, I got all types of decisions right now about my finances, about my future woman, my future wife, excuse me, about where I work. Just don't know what to do. You know, we bring this stuff to God. Okay? We relax and take it easy. We're not going nuts about this stuff. Remain calm. You know, God has got this. Just stay on the path, follow the directions, and good things will come to you. Continue to look for opportunities to be of help to other people. We don't struggle. We do not struggle, okay? We are often surprised how the right answers will come after we have tried this for a while. Practice this. Do this for a while. Do it for a while and see what happens, okay? This next top of page 87 is going to be highlighted yellow, this first paragraph, okay? This is going to happen to you if you do this, I promise you, okay? What used to be the hunch or occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind, becomes something that just happens in there, okay? Being still inexperienced and having made connection or conscious contact with God, it's not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times, and that's just not going to happen. Not always, more times than not. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. And that inspiration is coming from your higher power. Believe me when I tell you that, okay? It says we come to rely upon it. And I have we come to rely upon it also underlined. I have stars around that. I absolutely rely on God. I rely on no one today but God. I don't rely on my job for my paycheck. I rely on God to put me in position to earn. Absolutely. Okay? So, next paragraph, we're going to start off with some orange, okay? And this is going to start off also underlined. And this is that third step prayer that I just love so much that we always open up Trudge with. It says we usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer, okay? That's underlined and the word prayer is circled. For me, I use the third step prayer. You can use whatever prayer you want, whatever works for you. But the rest of the paragraph that it speaks to this specific prayer, third step prayer embodies all this, okay? It says that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. This is going to be highlighted pink. It says we ask especially for freedom from self-will and are careful to make no requests for ourselves only. We won't want any of these selfish prayers, you know, God, let me find a bag of money or hit the number, you know, hit the lottery or, you know, God's will and self-will, I've learned, are two different things completely. You know, my self-will is what's good for me, and that's gotten me a lot of trouble. You know, today I try to live according to what God's will is, and that's what's good for me and everybody else. You know, and if I'm not really reaching for that, I'm doing this wrong. You know, I'm falling back into selfish and self-centered patterns, okay? And to me, that's the gift. You know, now, you know, is something that's going to help my son, you know, my girlfriend, something to pray on, something that's going to be of usefulness to other people? Absolutely. But we really make no specific, you know, and you'll use discernment around this. You know, am I just being greedy here? Am I wanting? You know what I mean? That will come. Back to being highlighted in orange. It says, we may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. There it is, okay? We are careful never, and the word never is circled, we are never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing this, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. You know, think about all the stuff that you asked God for, begged for, that it was just, you know, all around your selfish and self-centeredness. Did you ever get any of it? You know, and when you did, you know, what happened after that? All right, very important. This stuff is like the gift right here around the prayer of and actions of step 11. Goes on to say, if circumstances warrant, we ask our wives and friends to join us in morning meditation. The words "join us" are underlined. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. The word also circled. So you do both. One doesn't have to supplant the other. You can do both of this stuff. Your religious convictions, you can mix them in with the spirituality that you've now attained by working these steps, and they can go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, like Ashford and Simpson, like Donnie and Marie. You could do them both. You know, you got a partner who's into it, bring her in. I pray with my girlfriend all the time, you know. I find it very beneficial to my relationship and a healthy way to live a lifelong happy relationship, okay? The book says, go for it. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have discussing. For me, every day, serenity prayer, on awakening, third step prayer, when we retire at night, and throughout the day, whatever comes up. A lot of times it's the fourth step fear prayer. It's the sick man prayer. What can I do for the man who's still sick? The fourth step when I'm in doubt prayer. All this stuff always comes up for me. I use a specific prayer around a specific situation, and that's just what works for me. Do what works for you, okay? There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer. So you know what? You know, while a lot of people like to call some of us big book thumpers and we're throwing big books at people and that's all we talk about, man, there's other books out there that can be of help. But the big book is telling you, man, don't let that be something that keeps you from that. You know, there are millions of books written about spirituality and alcoholism and drug addiction and what it takes to have these things arrested. You know, feel free to venture into them if they're helpful. But believe me, what you don't want to do is rewrite the 12 steps. And you don't want to veer off the path of what you're doing here to have something like that. Take that over. Get this down. Work this in your life. Understand the difference between that and whatever else. But if something else is helping you, feel free to do it. I'm all for it. You know, the book says we make no sole vocation of this work. And do we think it would be stronger, you know, a thing for you, you know, more comprehensive to you in your life if we did? They're telling you, go for it. You go to church, go to church. You know, you read the Bible, dude, read the Bible. You know, a lot of this stuff came out of the Bible, you know, but that's a whole nother story. We're not even going to get to that, you know what I mean? That's some like Emmett Fox and some other stuff that we could, you know, at some point maybe I will get into after I finish this program. Who knows? But right now, use that stuff. That's why it's there. Don't feel like you can just only use this book, but be sure to understand what it is we're doing here, okay? So, as we go through the day, we pause. When agitated or doubtful, we ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves that we are no longer running the show. Humbly saying to ourselves many times a day, and this is going to be highlighted pink, thy will be done. It's the simplest prayer known to man. I mean, who can't remember those 4 words? You know, if you're really living according to what God's will is for you, it's so hard to just not power that up. You know, if you don't do it, it's because you don't want to. It's because your self-will is running riot and it's about to take you out. All right? I have the next paragraph. I have it highlighted orange, but it's really more of a promise, so I kind of underscored it yellow as well. Okay, at the time I didn't really realize what I was doing, I guess. It says, we are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange our lives to suit ourselves. You know how much time and money I have on my hands now? You know, now that I'm actually not drinking and drugging, you know, I had nothing to do. You know, I was only thinking of myself then. Now I have no time because I'm constantly giving back what was so freely given to me in an effort to stay recovered. There's a fine line in there. There's a balance, and I'm learning that balance, you know, pretty much going into my 3rd year of doing this. But it's a great feeling. Believe me, I would never, ever trade my last 3 years for my, you know, my first 10, 11 years. I mean, I gladly would trade that. You know, it's just like it's two different people, it's 2 different programs, you know, and a big part of that is a psychic change that has happened as a result of working these steps, and a huge part of that is taking a look at what I'm doing, man. I was the one who was always character assassinating and looking what you were doing, so I'd have to look at myself. I finally started working these steps, and I was forced to look at myself, and I was forced to want to make the changes, and it's an amazing thing what happened. You know, I just can't even believe the person that I am today either. It's hard to believe, okay? It works, it really does. The book is telling you. I mean, and for me, I was even still skeptical until I worked with somebody and saw it work on that person. And then at that point, I was convinced. I was all in. I mean, I saw this person had a rough life, man. You know, this person was having a hard go of it, and today this person could sponsor me. It's, you know, there's no question about it. The recovered aspect of this program absolutely hit this guy like a ton of bricks, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a person change in my life the way I saw this happen with this other person. So that's just how it worked for me. So we alcoholics are undisciplined. So we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. But this is not all. There's always more, guys. Okay? There's action, and then there's more action.